Okay, Uncle T, Terrell Manasco, in the studio with us here this morning, along with Stephanie Holcomb of the American Red Cross. Stephanie, she the Community Disaster Program Manager for this area of the Red Cross. Stephanie, welcome to the station, and it's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
You're quite welcome. The Sipsey restoration and cleanup and just everything those folks need out there after this past weekend storms. It was an EF2, I think, and y'all were on the scene, as always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the procedures and the services and the help you're giving our friends over in Sipsey.
Sure. So in Sipsey specifically, we began just responding that night. We were able to provide just dinner for any of the families that were displaced that were left there in the area, as well as the first responders. We were able to disperse tarps, gloves, give water, snacks that night within just a little bit after the storm. So next morning, I do want to probably go into just the process of
Sure.
how the Red Cross operates during a disaster and how we operate even after, whenever we're not in disaster mode.
Yeah.
So the very next morning, I had two of my volunteers out doing damage assessment. That is essential for us and getting families the help that they need. I actually cover 12 counties, so while I had volunteers here responding in Walker, then I was in Pickens responding in Pickens. So
Gordo.
Yeah, they
wow.
were hit. They were hit really hard. They had lots of damaged homes, chicken homes up there. So, but we really partnered well with our community partners here, and we are so lucky in Walker County to have not only partners that are willing to help but able to help, because I do have a lot more vulnerable populations in vulnerable counties that don't have that luxury, and we have a real gem in the Walker Area Community Foundation here. And we were really just able to come together and make what I feel like a very successful cleanup and hopefully a very successful recovery going forward for these tornado victims.
How about the way they can get in touch with you if they need any services? Sure. or any way they can, many ways to do that now.
Sure.
Phones and of course online and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. The best way is to call 1-800-RED-CROSS. It literally just look at your phone and spell out Red Cross, and just they will ask you some questions, just basic name and address. And also just know that we also have at least the addresses of what was major destroyed in the Sipsey area. So I would like to talk a little bit if I have time.
Oh, you got the platform is yours, Stephanie.
I gotta tell you, I feel a little bit like the Saturday Night Live ladies whenever they have their little headphones on. And anyway, so Red Cross operates in what we would call blue sky, and that's whenever we're not in disaster mode. That is when we really don't have a disaster going on, and quite frankly, we've just come to a point that, we're almost in a chronic gray sky across the area. I mean, our disasters have gotten more frequent, they've gotten worse over time, and but we'll just keep it specifically to Alabama and Mississippi, because our local chapter here, we're called the Central West Alabama chapter, and we belong to the region of Alabama and Mississippi, and we are frequently hit with disasters between both states. But if we are operating not in a disaster, then we do things like respond to fires. That's really about 90% of what we do respond to. Fires, I've had to write this down. Small storms, we do things like smoke alarm installations. We help to educate our community on how to prepare themselves for storms. We even have programs that we can help our businesses to prepare for storms and help them get a better insurance rating. We also have a very high focus on our volunteers and training our volunteers. We are chartered by the United States government. Although we do not get funding from the United States government, we are a partner, and especially during wartime, and helping to exchange and care for prisoners of war. So with that responsibility comes the responsibility of making sure that our volunteers are very highly trained. So we just suppose someone has a fire tonight. One thing that we do is we provide them with immediate assistance, and that immediate assistance is based on their family size. After that immediate assistance, we will have a case manager reach out and just say, like, what are the other needs that we need? Have you lost medication? Have you lost walkers, eyeglasses, contacts, dentures? What else can we help you with? Do you need mental health? Has this just taken a toll on your mental health? Do you need spiritual care?
Yeah.
In the event that someone has lost a family member in the fire, we do help with some of those burial expenses. So we can be very instrumental in all aspects of someone's recovery.
You're very versatile. Y'all do a lot of things, sounds like.
I'm so proud. I mean, I love my job, but I just really take so much pride in what the Red Cross is able to do in our communities, in blue sky, and what I will talk about, the gray sky. So gray sky is what we call if we've been hit with a disaster like we have just recently been. And the truth is, I have been hit with the disasters. This has been my 5th one since December, because I do cover 12 counties. Wow. So this tornado season has been especially hard for Central West in particular. So let's see, let me read my notes here. We do operate a little differently, and one of the misconceptions that we always get hit with is we need y'all to buy hotel rooms, and we do not do that. Like it would be like a case by case basis if we needed to provide a hotel room, but that's not what we do to help families. Because if we just provided hotel rooms, there are many that don't need it. So anyway, what we would do for people that had nowhere to go and needed sheltering is simply open up shelters. Here in Walker County, my shelter agreements are with the Walker County School System. Dennis Willingham graciously agreed to allow the Red Cross to use our Walker County school gyms in the event we had a large enough disaster. Yeah. In this case, thankfully we did not. So there was a family that needed a hotel room that our VOAD was able to provide for them, and let's see. Another thing that I feel like can be a misconception is that the American Red Cross is going to show up immediately with like an unlimited supplies, and we do, but sometimes that can take a few days. That's not an immediate response. We are very layered. We have processes that we have to follow, and in the event, just for this particular storm, what I had began just preparing my communities for and having meetings about was, we belong to the Alabama-Mississippi region, but for at least 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours, we're going to have to rely on our local resources, what I have here in Jasper, in stuff and in people. So because this thing was coming right through most of Alabama, most of Mississippi, and once you get out of the Alabama-Mississippi region, we have resources in our division. But we were also in a situation that this was impacting over half of our division. So we were having to let everyone take the opportunity to evaluate what are our needs, what is our damage, before we could expect to get all the resources in. We at this point have like over 150 Red Crossers on the ground from all over our division, some of them from other areas across the nation. But so this is how we would respond in a disaster. We would respond locally. What do I have locally? What kind of damage do I have? I would have volunteers out on the ground within hours trying to determine the damage. Do we have a need to open a shelter? In this case, thankfully, we did not. That's not always the case. In our more vulnerable communities, that having to open up a shelter is pretty standard. We did do feeding. We have partnered with our local partners here in Walker County to provide the feeding for the community, and that's one thing that I'm just so proud of the Red Cross for. We try to pour back into the community by getting our food and what we can here locally. So I'll go over those partners that we utilize very soon. But just to piggyback on like how we respond, so if we see we cannot handle this disaster with local resources, then we will go to our region. Who in Alabama, Mississippi doesn't have needs themselves that can send us what they can in people and stuff? If it's something that is so big that we can't handle regionally, then we would go to our division, which includes states like Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Puerto Rico, Kentucky. So we would go there and say, we need people. And luckily, we had a leadership that was already foresaw how bad this was going to be for our area and had already started requesting those resources prior to the storms, that was ready to mobilize directly after the storms were passed and the roads were open. So that's how I hope I've kind of clear on how we respond in these situations. But I'm so proud of what we were able to do with our volunteers, our local volunteers here. They have allowed me to be in several different places at one time, because I did have damage in Pickens, and one thing that hasn't been talked about a whole lot has been Greene. We sustained a lot of damage in Greene County, and one thing that we also piggyback on while we're doing feeding, sheltering, we make sure people have the supplies that they need. Do they need water? Do they need snacks? Do they need tarps, gloves, rakes, shovels? So we've been out in Sipsey, Greene, Pickens, Bibb, Hale, just making sure that people have those things that they need. So
You've covered a lot of bases. You really have. We're talking with Stephanie Holcomb of the American Red Cross. She, the Community Disaster Program Manager. So 2 words, volunteers and donations.
Oh, yes. We can always use both.
And the contact number 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Anything? Did you know Cynthia Patton?
I do not.
Okay. She was used to be the head of the office here in town, but just great job, and appreciate you coming in. Anything else you want to add?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sure. I just really want to give a shout out to our people that I was able to just text on the fly and say, can you guys help? Can you help with distribution? Can you help with getting our lunches dinners prepared, and that was 5 loaves. Kelly, amazing. I mean, just on the fly. Carlos at Los Reyes, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson at Ganny's Kitchen, Johnny Brusco's, Wes. I just went in there and was like, hey, I need this many lunches for tomorrow. And it was absolutely Hope House. Hope House went and took their food truck and just showed that community love. Jasper First Methodist, Desperation Church, they were instrumental in helping us distribute. And, again, just want to say, I feel like as a community, we have just done really well. The EMA, the Walker Area Community Foundation, Salvation Army, they provided lunches, dinner one night, lunch one day. So I feel like could be the poster children for how we recover in situations like this.
And the community thanks the American Red Cross.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You
you.
did a great job, been around a long time, and probably one of the, if not the most respected disaster relief organizations in the nation. So, Stephanie, thank you. Nice to you too. Stephanie Holcomb of the American Red Cross. Thank you so much for coming by, and keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.